What is up, everybody? I'm Mr. Man. I'm down here in Toronto, rocking with my family for today for a couple hours. Then I'll be heading over to the airport. If you're at the airport, look me up, check me out. We're picking up my partner's Mrs. Man's sister at the airport. They're flying in from Germany. But I want to touch today just briefly on the whole Ethereum, PayPal, stablecoin they got going on there. That's a whole bunch of something else, man, with that stablecoin. So first off, the fees are going to be exorbitant. They're going to be huge. You know, those gas fees itself. I remember in the early days, people were moving NFTs, and that NFT might cost them $100, but the fees at that point were like $250. Outrageous. So now they have a stable coin. PayPal has a stable coin. I'm not 100% certain at what the function of this stable coin is, because there are varying stable coins and varying ways that they'll be used. But this particular stable coin is going to be used by PayPal, and it also not offers, but it has a function called freeze. And I'll talk to you about that. We are freeze. And what that means is it allows the account holder to freeze a parent or sub account on a central bank ledger. And that central bank ledger could be from the retail central bank side of point of view or side of things, the retail central bank or the RCBDC, not retail central, RCBDC. So from that RCBDC, now the disposition into this account is allowed, but depositing is what is allowed, but withdrawing or making payments are not allowed. So any money you put in there now, essentially, it's a bail-in, is what the term is. It's a bail-in. So if that account needs to be frozen for any reason, you now have lost control. Kind of like what we've experienced when the Canadian truckers is always the example. When the Canadian truckers had their accounts frozen, you'll experience that with PayPal, and this isn't the first time PayPal had done that. So moving on. Now let's move on to the BOE and the power they're looking to gain in terms of stablecoin creation and how stablecoins will be regulated. Because again, they're looking for that power. Trust, they're going to want it. They are one of the big central banks, and they're going to want some big power to back that up. Let's check it out. The Bank of England will get more power in regulating stablecoin. The United Kingdom government could rebalance the power between the Bank of England and the country's principal financial regulator, the FCA. Posted about them numerous times, folk. The United Kingdom government could rebalance the power between the Bank of England and the country's FCA in the former's favor, according to a 40-page consultation response published by His Majesty on August the 7th, yesterday. So, the British government launched the consultation under the headline Payments Regulation and the Systemic Perimeter in 2022 to get market proposals on reforming the BOE payments perimeter given the evaluation of financial stability risk. The final paper sets out some measures for regulating so-called systemically important stablecoin, which we've spoken about this. The main takeaway is that the government's intention is to secure the co-supervision over the stablecoin as a joint venture of both the BOE and the FCA. They're gonna want both regulators. Yeah, so as I was telling you guys before, or showing at least, you're gonna see the merging of powers, the conglomerates showing themselves now. I've taken you guys down a journey there with the IFSCA, which is now a regulatory body in India, where they had merged the IFSA and another regulatory body, sort of like the SEC and CFTC. And I even showed you back in 2009, the SEC had written a draft paper where they proposed that there might be a merging of the SEC and CFTC, and now here we have it, the BOE talking about that. Stay tuned and we'll follow this as well. But there is one more thing I do want to touch on with you guys here. Let's get into that. So here we are on the Payments Canada's website there, and I posted yesterday, I believe it was, where I was talking about the XRP and the derivatives market, where I had it posted at $1,800, give or take, around $1,900, $2,000 as a rough estimate in terms of calculation. This came out in 2019, how cross-border payments are evolving. Stay with me here, okay? Let's just go down. We're talking about summaries. Cross-border payment overview. Cross-border, here we go. Correspondent bank, cross-border settlements. The correspondent banks. We're going right down. Stay with me. Just stay with me. There we go. Digital currencies and cross-border settlements. Digital currencies such as Bitcoin. Is this the one here? No, no, not here. Sorry, just stay with me still. Here we go. Central bank digital currency and cross-border settlements. So here, as we read in this section here, Project Jasper and Project Umid, a joint project between Payments Canada, the Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, and the Monetary Authority of Singapore, JPM. So, Project Jasper performs transactions across the quorum-based DLT network in Singapore and the quota-based DLT network in Canada using the hash time lock contract, which employs smart contracts to synchronize all payments actions, meaning transactions either succeed or fail. For example, a sender will transfer local currency to an intermediary on the local currency network, and the intermediary will transfer the foreign currency to the receiver on the foreign currency network. The receiver will know when they will receive the payment by generating a cryptographic proof of payment. In cases where it fails to claim the payment will be returned to the payer. This system, using HTLC, the hash time lock contract, would not need to place trust in a third party, but trust is required in the technical system. So, this experiment model consortiums here, where is it? So here we have the Payments Canada website now. We'll talk about perspectives on cross-borders payments and how they're evolving. I'm going to do a quick search here. All right. Derivatives. All right, this is what I was trying to get to before on my previous video, but I kept screwing up. Anyways, it says here, some of the financial services that provide cross-border funds transfers, such as Samsung, Google, Apple, and TransferWise, known as Wise now, are derivatives of the correspondent banking model. Making a cross-border payment using any of these large global fintechs can be reduced to a form of transfer pricing where the intermediate product is foreign exchange held in bank accounts in different countries. Cross-border payments initiated using services provided by such companies are essentially on U.S. transactions in their global balance sheet, with funds merely transferring from one e-wallet to another e-wallet. This transfer pricing plays an important role for large companies in managing their tax reporting and other aspects of their asset liabilities. That being said, here we go. Looking at potential disruption to wholesale payment systems is crucial because the payment is the endpoint of a contract or agreement, the details of which are recorded on the bank's financial statement. It is these contracts that provide the business case for USC and JPM coin. A business case for USC would be to provide a vehicle for a settlement within derivatives market, which now Ripple is the newest member of the ISDA. An example would be the market for cross-currency and interest rate swaps. To this end, it's important to note that the gross notional value of outstanding contracts on the OTC market at the end of Q2 2018 is 595 trillion, while the gross market of the value of the OTC is 10 trillion. That being said, let's look at in terms of recommendation now for the cross-border payments and settlement, which we just looked at there. So now stable coins for cross-border payments. Here we have RippleNet's native digital currency, XRP, and the Stellar's native currency, XLM. Both Ripple and Stellar enable fast and more efficient cross-border payments relative to correspondent banking. And people think I'm nuts. Come on. I'm not going to say I'm 100%, know what I'm talking about. But I mean, when you start to read things and put the connections together, like, you know what you're talking about, all right? Take it or leave it at that point. So here we go. However, they differ in that Ripple is focused on improving cross-border settlement between international banks, whereas Stellar is focused on providing low-cost cross-border payment financial services to the end user and the unbanked population. All right, so there we have it, folks. Now you all see how, if Ripple can manage to claim only a minute sliver, a piece of that cake, you can see how the price of XRP can shoot up. And the way I look at it, and people think I'm nuts for this, but the way I look at it, if Bitcoin, based off of speculation, solely speculation, not even adoption, can reach 69,000 in the US, 90K in Canada, just based off of speculation and simple trading and selling back and forth. Buying, selling, that's it. But there's mainstream adoption by these companies. How could it not? How could it not? When you think about it, how could it not? Well, question for you guys. Do you guys know anything about cryptocurrencies?
Cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
A little bit, yes.
A little bit? What cryptocurrencies do you know?
Just that it's a stock and you can invest in it. It's like a money and it's like a digital money and stuff.
Digital money?
Yeah.
Which cryptos do you know?
I used to actually just go off of like Robinhood.com,
Yeah.
Crypto.com and stuff.
And you buy from there?
Bitcoin, or else it was actually just crypto you invest into.
Okay. Do you know anything about, so you know Bitcoin, you know Ethereum?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about XRP, XLM, XDC? Not a thing.
I didn't go into the depths of it.
You didn't go wading in the water yet, huh?
No, I didn't.
All right.
I still got money in my one stock.
That's what matters.
I'm slowly learning.
All right. I'm here chatting to my people on my channel about cryptocurrencies. I teach cryptocurrencies. I teach a bit about the banking infrastructure. I teach about what's going on behind the scenes. So I do appreciate you guys taking some time to chat with me. Take it easy. You too. So there we go, folks. In terms of adoption by mainstream, you're only going to see Bitcoin never be adopted by mainstream because no one knows about XDC, no one knows about XRP, no one knows about XLM. Why? Because when you hear cryptocurrency, it's synonymous for Bitcoin, and that's it. They don't want you to know anything beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.